and it's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship. I want to start by paying tribute to the Honourable Member for Harrow East for securing this debate and for his work as the Chair of the APPG on Smoking and Health, of which I am Vice Chair. 2 years after the government stated its ambition to make England smoke-free by 2030, projections show that the government will miss this target by 7 years and double that for the poorest in society. And despite a promise of further action on tobacco, we're still waiting for the new tobacco control plan, which the government pledged to publish this year. In the absence of a new plan, the Health and Care Bill is a timely opportunity to take the first step towards a smoke-free 2030. Yet, despite the urgency of this issue and my best efforts in committee, the Health and Care Bill fails to make a single mention of tobacco or smoking. To correct this oversight, I tabled amendments to the Health and Care Bill based on recommendations made by the APPG on smoking and health, including proposals for a polluter pays levy, health warnings on cigarettes and inside packaging, and to close the loophole allowing e-cigarettes to be marketed at children. The measures are all at low cost or actually revenue generating, and they're popular with the public and could be implemented quick and easily by the government. Yet, while the government expressed support for the principle behind the proposals, they rejected every single one, saying that they wanted to wait and see what the evidence says. The government has cited that the need to wait for the publication of the post-implementation reviews of the Standardised Packaging of Tobacco Products Regulations 2015 and the Tobacco and Related Products Regulations 2016. However, the government was required by law to publish these by May 2021. This has now drifted into an aim to publish by the end of the year. So can the Minister say, how much longer will we have to wait for the government to start taking action to deliver its smoke-free 2030 ambition? The Minister should know that if the APPG's amendments aren't adopted in the Commons, then they'll be retabled in the other place. Today, I want to briefly make the case for the proposals that I've put forward and address the government's arguments against them. The first proposal is to include health warnings on cigarettes and cigarette papers. There is substantial research supporting their implementation, and this is already under consideration in Canada, Australia and Scotland. Such warnings would be cheap and easy to implement through a simple amendment to the Standardised Packaging of Tobacco Products Regulations 2015. The government said it was sympathetic to the aims of this clause, but it's not willing to adopt it, citing the need to conduct some further research and for more evidence. However, warnings like "smoking kills" have been shown to be effective on billboards and tobacco packs, so why wouldn't they be effective on cigarette sticks too? Adding warnings to cigarette sticks is also important because young people in particular are likely to begin smoking with an individual cigarette rather than packs. There have also been at least 8 peer-reviewed academic studies published since 2015, which specifically look at warnings on sticks and found them to be effective, particularly in making cigarettes less attractive to younger adolescents and never smokers. Moving on to cigarette pack inserts providing health information, they've been required in Canada since the year 2000. There's substantial evidence showing that they are effective, and research supports their use in the UK too. And the government has already acknowledged in the Prevention Green Paper that there could be a positive role for inserts in tobacco products given quitting advice. Pack inserts are easy and cheap to introduce, and as the government have acknowledged, could be implemented by a simple revision of the Standardised Packaging of Tobacco Products Regulations 2015. However, again, the government refused to adopt this amendment, citing the need for further research, public consultation and to wait for the recommendations of the post-implementation review of the SPOT regulations. Yet there's no guarantee that this review will contain concrete recommendations. Indeed, in 2019, review failed to do that. My concern is that the measure needed will just get kicked into the long grass, putting the 2030 ambition at risk. Moving on, there are currently no controls on the use of branding to promote e-cigarette products, some of which, in particular e-liquids, are branded in a way that are clearly attractive to children through the use of bright colours, sweet names and cartoon characters. Research by YouGov for Ash found that in 2021, 3.3% of 11 to 17-year-old never smokers have tried e-cigarettes once or twice. 0.5% use them less than weekly, 0.2% use e-cigarettes more than once a week. And although the percentages seem low, this is still amounts to 174,900 never smokers trying e-cigarettes. Another 26,500 carried on using them, and another 10,600 used them more than once a week. The Ash YouGov survey of adults and young people found that standardising the packaging of e-cigarettes and refills reduces the appeal of vaping to young people, particularly young children, while having little impact on adult smokers' interest in using the products to quit smoking. Yet this amendment was frustratingly voted down by the government in committee. A further issue that must be addressed is that while it's illegal for e-cigarettes to be sold to children under 18, it isn't illegal for them to be given out as free samples to under 18s. This loophole fails to deliver on the spirit of the legislation, which is designed to protect children from nicotine addiction. Clearly, the legislation needs amending to ban the sale and free distribution of any consumer nicotine product to under 18s. The government inexplicably voted down this proposal at committee stage, saying that they do not have a firm or robust evidence base at present to suggest that this is a widespread problem. As stated, around 174,900 never smokers aged 11 to 17 tried e-cigarettes, and another 10,500 use them more than once a week. So does the Minister genuinely think that we should wait until youth use of e-cigarettes becomes a significant problem before taking action to remove this loophole? Finally, I want to talk about flavourings. The ban on flavourings in smoking tobacco was introduced because flavourings, in particular menthol, make it easier for young people to start smoking and increase the likelihood that they will become addicted smokers. However, the flavour ban only prohibits characterising flavours, which is subjective and difficult to measure, making the ban easy to circumvent and complex to oversee. In Canada, the legislation bans all flavours, which is easier to implement and to enforce. And there's good reason to do this, as the tobacco industry has introduced several innovations that have exploited loopholes in the regulations to undermine the impact of the ban. For example, Japan Tobacco International launched a range of alternative products containing menthol, but which they claim complied with the law. Figures in the Express revealed that since 12 months since the ban came into force in 2020, the company sold more than 100 million packs and made around £91.65 million in profits from menthol brands. In addition, modified smoking accessories have been introduced, including cards, filter papers and filters designed to add a menthol flavour to both hand-rolling tobacco and cigarette sticks. UCL's Smoking Tobacco Toolkit found no decline in the proportion of smokers in England, reporting that menthol cigarette smoking following the introduction of the ban, and it suggested that smokers of menthol cigarettes were able to take advantage of this loophole. The flavour ban is clearly failing to prevent the sale of flavoured tobacco, which is why I proposed extending the ban to all tobacco flavours, not just those described as characterising. Again, the government opposed this measure, claiming that it is not clear how a ban on flavours would be enforced in practice. This isn't logical, as it's much easier to enforce a complete ban on flavours than only those defined as characterising, which is very subjective. So, to finish, does the Minister agree that the tobacco industry are making a mockery of the current flavour ban, and will she commit to closing this loophole by removing the limitation to only include flavours defined as characterising as soon as possible, and to extend the ban, which currently only applies to cigarettes, to all tobacco products and smoking accessories? Thank you.